Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Red Wing Shoes, located in the shops at Centerpoint in Grand Rapids at the corner of 28th Street and the Beltline. The store has everything you need for the worksite or the woods. Stop in or check them out online at redwingshoes.com. And by Mr. Muskie Charters, offering full-service guided fishing trips for walleye, muskie, bass, and sturgeon on Lake St. Clair and the Detroit and St. Clair rivers. Booking information is online at mrmuskiecharters.com. Well, hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors and happy hunting. It's hard to believe that the bow season is now underway. Small game has been going for a few weeks. There's good fishing all over the state of Michigan. What a great time of the year to be a sportsman here, and we have a really cool show for you. We're going to kick things off with a youth hunt with our own Gabe Van Wormer and his son, but we're actually going to see them actually building the gun that they take out onto the hunt. Pretty cool story there. And if you saw the show last week, you saw part one in a two-part series on Fred Bear. Well, this week we're going to get to see some pretty rare footage of Fred Bear actually hunting. Lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988. Offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By Discount Door Company, featuring residential and commercial garage doors, door styles, and build-your-own design tool available at discountdoorgr.com. Discount Door Company, serving West Michigan and the Grand Rapids area for over 25 years. By Hemisphere Design Works, a Muskegon manufacturer of sportsman's outdoor products for over 30 years, featuring the Terrain line of hard-sided hunting blinds designed for quick setup and removal with quiet operation. For more information and other products, hemispheredesignworks.com.
Soaking in the rich tradition of Michigan hunting for over 30 years, Vanguard is proud to sponsor our friends at Michigan Out of Doors TV.
There's no doubt that the 450 Bushmaster has become the cartridge of choice here in southern Michigan. In this next segment, we're going to take a Savage Axis 308 bolt-action rifle and we're going to convert it to a 450 Bushmaster. A few weeks ago, I contacted Ben Newton, who owns a gunsmithing shop over in Saranac, to do some work for me on a gun I had just bought. BK Guns and Stuff specializes in custom guns and restorations, but has also made a name for themselves putting together 450 Bushmasters. Their gun work is impeccable, and just what I was looking for when I was thinking about having a bolt-action rifle converted to a 450.
We opened, it was May of 2013. This is something that I did as a hobby for a lot of years before I actually became a gunsmith. Honestly, our little niche that we have is a few years back we were looking at the market where the 450 Bushmaster was coming in, and the market was really limited with the amount of firearms you could get. You could get a lot of AR platforms, and there was guys out there doing like REM 700s and everything, but they were starting out at $1,200 to $1,500, and we really wanted to find a platform that we could go and use that we could get at sub $1,000. So actually Carter Thaleson, kid that's worked for me for quite a few years, him and I sat in the shop one day talking, and it was like, you know something? The SB2 platform, the H&R or New England Firearms SB2 platform was going to be like perfect for us. So after that and stuff, being that the single shot H&Rs and New England Firearms are so popular, it's like almost everyone had one as a kid. If you had owned a firearm, you'd owned one of those. So when we started to advertise and we were building them, we were just swamped. They were contacting us and finding us through the internet, and we've built a ton of them.
The rifle I had would start out as a 308 that I picked up new for under $300. It would be the perfect donor gun, only the action, bolt, and magazine would be used off this rifle. The barrel would be swapped out for a match-grade machine, stainless, barbed wire fluted barrel. But before the barrel could be fitted, Ben would pillar and glass bed the action in a Boyd's gun stock. This would be crucial to help get the best accuracy out of the gun. The first step was to set the aluminum pillars before the glass bedding process. While the pillars were curing, the barrel was being worked on as well. Carter Thallison was coating the flutes on the barrel so that they would stand out. A little lathe work and the rest of the coating was taken off, leaving the flutes black in color. The barrel was then installed and the headspace was set with some go, no-go gauges.
And this should not close on the no-go gauge. Just like that, it didn't close on it.
Once it dries and stuff, tomorrow I'll come in here, then I'll just take the screws back out of it, and it'll pull it back apart, and then I'll do any cleanup work that has to be done to it, because there might be a little bit of squish out and stuff that I don't like. But at that point, I'll actually remove material inside the stock to give more area for the bedding to be down into it.
Okay, we're gonna put glass bedding material into the action from the rear aluminum pillar that we installed earlier up to in front of the recoil lug down here where the barrel starts. And it's gonna be all through here. And when you install the action down into the wet glass bedding material before it's cured, it will squeeze out, and then we'll have to do some cleanup work and then let it sit overnight while it cures. Now with the 450 Bushmaster in the state of Michigan here where we're at, your average hunter is going to be able to expect groups that are very, very small from as far as 50 to 200 plus yards out there. I mean, you guys are shooting 2-inch groups at 200 yards very, very easily with these guns. And the 450 Bushmaster, what I found on all these different platforms is it's very accurate, extremely accurate. And it almost doesn't really seem to matter what twist rate you're using on the barrel. Barrel length, they don't need to be very long, but yeah, inherently accurate.
Oh yeah, that looks good. Well, what we did right there is a 2-shot sight in. Basically, I took the first shot, it's been bore sighted, but it's not been sighted in. So I took the first shot and I hit about 1, 2, 3 inches low and maybe a 1/2 inch to the right. So what I did then was I put the crosshairs back on the bullseye and I moved my crosshairs down and to the right so it covered up my first shot. And what I did was I went just a little bit farther because I want to be just a hair high at 100. So I went just a little bit beyond that and I hit perfectly on the center line about that far above the bull. That's a 2-shot sight in, saves you a lot of ammo, and it's very, very easy to do. Crosshairs on the center, shoot, put the crosshairs back on the center, move the turrets to wherever your bullet hits, high right, low left, whatever it is, move your crosshairs there and it'll be right on for that second shot.
Now that the rifle was sighted in, it was time to get it out into the field. The first season it would see was the early youth season with my 11-year-old son, Reed.
Right now where you're sitting, right in between a river and a cornfield, and the deer like to walk right here on the edge of the cornfield. We have quite a few big bucks that keep walking right back there. They keep walking right here and going back over there, so I'm hoping to shoot one of those.
laying in the water. Don't knock that out. Grab that shell.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, that was fun.
You sniped him.
Yeah.
What happened?
So, this, we were just all sitting here, and then all of a sudden we started hearing a bunch of stuff over here, and we couldn't figure out where it was. We kept looking and looking and looking, and then all of a sudden I saw two bucks fighting with each other, and it kept going into places where I couldn't shoot him, and then he stepped right out into that opening, and I shot him.
It's like 100 yards through the woods. That was not an easy shot. Nice shot.
Thanks.
What do you think?
It was
Let me see
fun.
that shell. Nice. With the new gun.
Yeah.
What do you think of that new gun?
Sweet.
You really liked the old Thompson Center, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You like this one okay?
Yeah.
Now what are you doing? Now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're a little excited when he was coming in, weren't you?
Yeah, I was really excited because we had been seeing a bunch of bucks all that much. We were seeing a lot of does, but just a few bucks, and they're mostly a lot of spikes. But finally, this one came in. I was really excited.
You made a great shot. A little over 100 yards through the woods, across the river. What do you think?
I think it's awesome. Oh, that was fun.
You sniped him.
Yeah.
We wrap up this week's show with part 2 of our Fred Bear tribute, where we get to take a little closer look at Fred's life and also get to see some of his hunting adventures from around the world.
What is a bow hunter? Well, between a delightful old man conjuring up memories of long ago hunts and a boy's first bow, we find an unpredictable creature called a bow hunter. They come in assorted sizes, but they all have the same creed: to spend as much time as possible outdoors.
Well, Fred was from Pennsylvania originally, raised on a farm, and he actually he grew up hunting with his dad, hunted with rifles and shot a few deer, but he actually moved away from Pennsylvania when he was 20, just after his 21st birthday. He moved to Detroit, took a train to Detroit, and started working at, I believe it was Packard Motor Car Company, as a pattern maker. And then eventually he became plant manager at a Jansen tire manufacturer, not tire manufacturer, but a manufacturing company where they manufactured tire covers. If you think of the old Model Ts or Model As with the outside spare tire, they had tire covers that they would manufacture. But Fred also started making archery equipment in a corner of the building. He had learned about, he watched a movie with Art Young, hunting back, I think it was 1925. Fred had seen the film, and then shortly after he heard that Art Young was going to be in Detroit at a Rotary event. So Fred went and met Art Young, and they actually became friends and started making archery equipment in Fred's basement at his home. So that's really what lit the fire for Fred Bear. And eventually he got out of the manufacturing business, his archery business. He started making archery equipment kind of off on the side, and it started taking off and got big enough that Fred split with his partner in the Bear Products company that he worked for and started making archery equipment full time. You know, I was just watching some old videos last night and happened across one where Frank Scott was talking about Fred Bear after he had passed away. And I liked kind of some of what he had said, because there were others before Fred, Art Young, Saxton Pope, Will Compton, the Thompson brothers. But Fred, they hunted and they, I don't want to say promoted it, but how Frank put it, they kind of did it more for themselves. It wasn't about the actual sport of bow hunting, where Fred, he called him more the father of modern bow hunting. And I like that, because Fred did it, but he held 13 patents related to archery, and he really didn't protect any of them. If someone could use them, if it helped the sport, he was all for it. He didn't try to protect them and try to make money off them so much. He felt if it was better for the sport. But he patented the arm guard, the shooting glove, unidirectional glass on recurve bows, where the fiberglass could be put on the back and the face of the bow, which was something that was unheard of prior to that. But he really promoted the sport and the ethics of bow hunting. He was a very ethical hunter. But that's what I like about him, is that he didn't do it just for himself, but he did it for the future. And here's one of my displays that I put together, really special. This top part shows 4 of Fred's personal hunting arrows that he had signed and given to a gentleman that worked for him at the time, and that letter kind of describes Fred signing each one and giving them to him. And one of them, he joked, was broken off and more indicative of Fred's shooting, but really special arrows. But this bottom one is particularly special to me. It's one that Fred Bear shot and killed a grizzly bear with in 1965 in British Columbia, and that is actually that film is actually one of the ones in the Bear DVD video library, and you can see Fred actually shooting that arrow and taking the grizzly.
Not rush in there too hasty like, Bill. After all, we just think he's dead.
Well, I guess I don't think we'd have to worry.
It doesn't look like it. My God, isn't he a beauty?
Hey, that's all right, eh?
Isn't that nice?
These are just some personal items of Fred Bear's besides the bow. This is one of his bolo ties that you often see pictures of Fred wearing that, and pretty much one other bolo tie, but that's one of Fred's bolo ties that he often wore. But the hat is Fred Bear's Borsellino hat, one of Fred Bear's Borsellino hats. He had several over the years, but he was always known as the man in the Borsellino hat. That was kind of Fred Bear's trademark. When you saw pictures, even if it was just a shadow or a silhouette, you knew it was Fred Bear because of that hat, and that was probably one of the last ones that he wore. And he gave that hat to Dick Latimer, who worked for Fred, was a very good friend of his. He gave that hat to Dick. Not too long before he passed away, he told Dick he gave it to him for safekeeping, knowing that he would probably never wear it again. This is Fred Bear's personal stone knife and file set, one of them. He again had several, but this is Fred's with the Puma Hunter knife that he used. In just about every picture or video you see of Fred, you'll notice he's wearing one of those on his belt. So that was a tool that Fred used a lot. This is his belt buckle that he wore. That's made out of gold and silver that he has a few pictures of. One of Fred Bear's Michigan archery back tags from 1972 that he bought when he still lived here. And then this is one of Fred's suitcases that he used, and it has the hang tag on it still from the Captain Cook Hotel in Anchorage, Alaska. And in Bob Munger's book, Trailing a Bear, there's a chapter in there where they talk about checking in at the Captain Cook Hotel. So I know that suitcase has been to Alaska with Fred, and so those are some of my favorite personal items of Fred Bear's. Eventually, Bear Archery moved out of Grayling in the late 70s and moved their plant and their production and everything down to Florida. And the museum, the Bear Archery Museum, eventually went down there too. But Fred always liked to come back to Michigan in the fall, and he had a place that he loved to hunt, and he'd been hunting there since the 50s. It was called Grouse Haven up by Rose City, Lupton area. And Fred really enjoyed coming back to Michigan. He would spend some time fly fishing on the Asaba, which he loved to do, but he really enjoyed spending time back up in Michigan and primarily at Grouse Haven. And a lot of the time I've heard that he just enjoyed more of the time just spent there with the guys and watching them enjoy their time. And I don't think he really hunted as much as he had prior to that, but he did enjoy being in the environment and the element and being around all the friends and watching the other guys enjoy themselves. So that was, yeah, probably well into the 80s, just before he died. Yeah, he just enjoyed the outdoors, and he really loved Michigan. This was where his heart was.
A bow hunter is an instinctive creature. You know where he is in the spring and summer, but he's hard to find in the fall. When he's overcome by that primitive urge to roam free in the foothills and swamps with the hope of just one clear shot, to chase game with the ghosts of other hunters from other times, that's all he really asks.
On today's hunt, we join famed archer Fred Bear, one of the country's leading exponents of bow hunting, and his friend and guide, Bill Love.
Say, Fred, you go up that ridge, and I go down in the swamp. We'll get that buck.
If some of our teenage thrill seekers really want to go out and get a thrill, let them go up into the northwest and tangle with the grizzly bear, the polar bear, and the brown bear. They'll get this that will cleanse the soul.
Well, you can understand how he clawed down that moose, huh? Yeah, that was a quick kill, really. Well, those arrows, they do business. I've been telling you that, you know. You won't believe me, and here. Well, I'll believe from here on out. I sure will. Yeah.
Well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for watching Michigan Out of Doors this week. If you missed part of this week's show or maybe last week's show, you can always check us out online at MichiganOutofDoorsTV.com. We have full episodes of the show there every week. And if you do the social media thing, we're on several different platforms, and you can kind of follow us on a day-to-day basis, see what we're up to and where we're traveling around the state of Michigan. And if you do the YouTube thing, you can actually subscribe to our Michigan Out of Doors channel there and actually get an email every time we post something new. So lots of good ways to follow us online. And over the next couple of weeks, boy, I tell you what, with bow hunting going, small game season in effect, there's going to be lots of good stuff coming from all corners of the state. If we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or greenstonefcs.com. By the locally owned and operated members of the Michigan Petroleum Association and the National Oil Heat Research Alliance, who provide oil heat with bioheat, a renewable fuel source designed to benefit the home and the environment. Details on the web at useoilheatmichigan.com. By Jay's Sporting Goods, with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's has been serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971, with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's. On the web at jaysportinggoods.com. By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows, manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan. G5 offers a line of archery bows, broadheads, and accessories. On the web at g5outdoors.com. Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Calumet.